So we're starting this week's Parsha, Parsha's Beshalach, is really the story of how Am Yisrael left Mitzrayim. And the story of Am Yisrael leaving Mitzrayim, as we've been discussing the last few weeks, is really the story of us leaving our Meitzarim, things that confine us. And we speak about this a lot, but we spoke about it in the last few weeks, that the word Mitzrayim, which means Egypt, also comes from the word Meitzar, which means restricted, confined. Min ha-meitzar, karasika, bein ha-meitzarim, between the things that confine us. And sometimes a person can find himself in a place that he's confined and he's restricted and he's limited. And that's what Mitzrayim represents. And the process of Yetzias Mitzrayim, which is a process that we will discuss again when we get closer to Pesach, but now that we're learning the Parshas of Yetzias Mitzrayim, it's the understanding of what Bnei Yisrael went through. When we understand their exodus and their liberation, we also find tools about our own personal liberation from the things that restrict us and confine us. And that's really what I want to focus on today, because this is, last week's Parsha was sort of the destruction of Mitzrayim and the beginning of Bnei Yisrael leaving. And this is really when Bnei Yisrael leave Mitzrayim, and we see what they went through. And I think the steps that they went through is something that's so important for our life. Whatever it is, that's a hardship in our life, whether it's getting out of coronavirus, whether it's, for a person, it might be getting a good job, finding a shidduch, or, making it through a difficult relationship and learning how to get out of it. There can be so many different things in our lives that we're trying to break through, and we need the inspiration from this week's Parsha. So let's take a look at the Parsha. The Parsha starts off, Vayihi Beshalach Paro esam v'lo nacham Elokim derech eretz Plishtim. And it was when Paro sent out the Jewish people, he did not take them through the land of Plishtim. Why not? Ki amar ki karavu, they might see Milchama and they might end up going back and they're going to be fearful. So number one, why does it say the word Vayihi? Vayihi is normally Lashon Tsar. They're being liberated. That's it. It's over. Whatever difficulty was in their life is now finished, but yet the Parsha starts off with the word Vayehi, which traditionally means this is the beginning of something really difficult. This is it. They're free. Why is this the beginning of something difficult? Number two, it says that the Paro sent them out. It wasn't Hashem that sent them out. And he couldn't take them through the land of Plishtim. Why not? Hashem could take them out of Mitzrayim. He could take them through the land of Plishtim. He could make them win the war. Why was it so important to go derech Yam Suf, through the desert and around to all around the desert until they make it to Eretz Yisrael? So what's the understanding right in the first pasuk of the Parsha? When we're talking about the liberation of coming out, of being free, we already understand that there's something that's not so simple over here. There's a difficulty in leaving Mitzrayim. We have to understand why they're being liberated right now. Question number two is, the story continues. They're going towards Mitzrayim. After 3 days, Hashem says, oh, you got to go back towards Mitzrayim, sort of pretend that you're lost. Bnei Yisrael doesn't object. They go back towards Mitzrayim. Paro gets all confused. Oh, Nevuchem heim b'midbar. They're all confused. They're lost in the desert. They're coming back. And that sort of invokes within him the desire to go chase after them. They go to Yam Suf. First of all, why did they have to go back? And by the way, when they went back, the way the pasuk says, "Vayechazak Hashem esleiv Paro melech Mitzrayim, vayirdu v'acharei bnei Yisrael uvnei Yisrael yotzim biyad Rama." Now it says that Am Yisrael is leaving biyad Rama. Now they're leaving Mitzrayim. Didn't they leave Mitzrayim last week's Parsha? It says be'etzem hayom hazeh, they left Mitzrayim in the middle of the day, but it says now uvnei Yisrael yotzim biyad Rama. Right now. Why is right now the time that they're leaving Mitzrayim? I thought they already left Biyad Rama. And then finally, when they get to Yam Suf, this always bothered me as a kid. When they get to Yam Suf, I understand the story that they're there and there's the water in front of them. The Egyptians are chasing behind them. They're coming in, they're galloping in the back. I always do this for the kids, right? They're galloping in the back and they're hearing the horses coming, 600 men on horses. And they're getting scared. They're slaves. They have that slave mentality, and they're screaming out to Hashem. A year went by, of them seeing unbelievable miracles that no one has ever seen before. A whole year of miracles. And it's like you have time to digest it. It's a week of a miracle, and then it's like 3 weeks in between makos, and every month is another mako. And they're like seeing how Hashem runs the whole entire world, and all in their favor. The Egyptians are getting hit, uh, you know, hit Mitzrayim and Rapo for Am Yisrael, and they're coming out victorious. And yet, when they're coming to Yam Suf, they're scared. Why would they be scared? What, Hashem did all of this so that now they drown in the desert? Doesn't Hashem have the ability to do tremendous miracles? If I was a little kid over there in Mitzrayim, I would be like, I can't believe those foolish Egyptians are actually chasing after us. What are they, crazy? Do they not know that our God is Kol Yachol? He could do anything. What are they, insane? They're going to be wiped out. I wouldn't be scared, it would seem. Maybe if I was there, I would be scared. I don't know, but I would seem they're like, oh, these guys are crazy. I can't wait to see what Hashem has in store for them right now, what Moshe has in store for them right now, because Hashem has been hitting them right and left. So why are they so scared? And it says that they're vayitzaku. They're screaming out to Hashem, Hashem, you have to save us. What is this vayitzaku? Why is it so important? And why are they so scared? And that they're screaming out to Hashem, and Hashem says, this is not the time to scream, Daber b'nei Yisrael v'yiso, speak to the Jewish people and tell them to go into the ocean. Why is this not Daber b'nei Yisrael? Why is this not, should we not, when we're scared, when there is a tragedy, we should just walk into the sea? Or don't we believe in prayer? What does Judaism actually believe? Do we believe that it's not the time to pray? When is it the time to pray? When is it not the time to pray? He says, it's not the time to pray. Go speak to the Jewish people. Tell them to go into the water. So what should they have done? First of all, why were they scared? And then they're praying. And once they are scared and they are praying, why is Hashem telling them not to pray, but rather to go ahead into the Yam Suf? So we have to understand what this whole process of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt, is all about. Number one, why is this like a tragic time? It seems Vayehi Beshalach Paro is a word that's telling us that it's going to be very difficult. It's a shas tzara. Why is it that Hashem didn't take them straight through the land of Plishtim? You have to go all the way around through the desert. And then when they're going through the desert, Hashem brings them back to Mitzrayim. And now it's Uvnei Yisrael Yotzim Bi'ad Rama. They're leaving with the mighty arm. Didn't they leave already? What does it mean that now they're leaving? And then when they're standing in front of Yam Suf and they're petrified, number one, why are they petrified? Because I would assume that there would be tremendous miracles. And even if they are petrified and they're praying, so what's wrong with praying? Why is he telling them to go Vayisu, that they should travel? So we have to understand what's going on over here. You're going to see that this really has underlying lessons for our life, for our way of getting out of our difficulties, whatever is holding us back, whatever difficulty we feel constrained, relationship, our kids, our business, something, our project that we want to do, whatever it might be, this could help us break through it and understanding how Bnei Yisrael left Mitzrayim. So we have to understand that there's two ways when Bnei Yisrael are leaving Mitzrayim. It's really a way of overcoming difficulty. Now, there's two ways to overcome difficulty. And when I speak about difficulty, it's not just difficulty of an outside oppression, and it's not just difficulty of an outside relationship or boss. Usually, the challenges that we face are right here, are between us and ourselves. It's the struggle between our Yetzer HaTov and Yetzer Hara, between our body and our soul. We have this like constant struggle. Should I get upset? Should I not get upset? Right? I have a bad midah. I'm wasting my time. I want to use my time better. I want, whatever the thing is, the struggle is here. A lot of times we dress it up saying that the struggle is with something that's outside of us. Oh, it's because of them that I feel this way. But really, it's an internal struggle of how do I want to relate to the situation that I'm in, even if it's an outside situation. And many times there is no negative outside situation. It's just a battle with myself. Do I want to learn? Do I not want to learn? Do I want to give compliments and be a positive person? Or do I want to be negative and complain about what's going on? Those are all inner struggles of how we want to live our life. Now, there's two ways of overcoming these battles. One is to make a commitment. That's it. I'm changing. I'm going to make a change in my life. Sometimes I might pray, Hashem, give me the strength, but I'm quitting smoking. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and exercise and daven and learn whatever commitment I make. And we try to make a hard stop in whatever midah we're doing. And a lot of times, sometimes that works. Usually, though, to make a change in our life, to break free from something that we feel we're constrained under, is a process. Now, the process works. This is how the Maggid of Mezrich brings this down. My great-grandmother is a direct Einokol of the Maggid. And he says, many times when we want to make a change in our life, it's because we had that moment of inspiration. We had that aha moment. We heard an amazing shiur. We saw something that bothered us, and we're like, we're going to make a change. Unfortunately, sometimes it could be a tragic event. It could be someone lost a loved one, or they went through an experience, chas v'shalom, an accident. They're like, I can't, oh my goodness, I better, hold my life in my hands. I better make a change. I can't continue this way, assuming that I'm going to change tomorrow. I better make a change right now. So we have a moment of inspiration where we can envision what we want our ideal life to look like. But then what happens? What happens? Then happens the next day. The next day, we're so excited about what we want to do. We're ready to start, but then there are all the difficulties of life. We don't have that inspiration with us right now. We don't have that clarity that we had yesterday of what we wanted to do. We have new distractions coming into our head on our phones, on our this, whatever it is. And therefore, it's harder. It's harder to do the exercise, and it's harder to do the daf, and it's harder to, right? How many of us were inspired? Daf Yomi, we're going to start the new daf, and we're going to start from the beginning. And we started, and maybe we even made it through brachos, but it gets harder, right? So to keep on going takes a lot of effort. And in a certain way, the Maggid says this was Yetzias Mitzrayim. Yetzias Mitzrayim, on the day that they left Mitzrayim, was this big aha moment. We are free. We're going to go to to Har Sinai. We're going to receive the Torah. We're going to receive the value, connect to Hashem, to the meaning and purpose of life. We're going to take upon ourselves this mission of making this world a better place. We're going to spread it. We're going to go to Eretz Yisrael. We're going to build that society. We're going to spread it. We're going to be great and perfect forever. But then what happens? What happens is that after 3 days, that excitement dies down again. And Hashem says, you have to go back to Mitzrayim. You have to go back to Piachiros. Because really, to make it through a difficult moment, to create a change in our life, is not something that happens overnight. It doesn't come from a moment of inspiration, as big as it is. And even after we experience a year of Makos, it doesn't happen that the next day you leave Mitzrayim, bam, you're done with Mitzrayim, and you're ready to be Am Yisrael, Am HaNivchar, and you're ready. It doesn't happen that way. And Hashem knows that human nature, the way he created us, is that it doesn't happen that way. And that's why V'lo Nacham Elokim Derech Eretz Plishtim, he doesn't bring them straight through Eretz Plishtim, because it's too much. There needs to be a process of leaving Mitzrayim. Because you might have physically left Mitzrayim, but did Mitzrayim leave you? You might have physically left your bad chevra, but did it really leave you? We might have, deleted the Facebook app from our phone, but are we still like addicted to technology or whatever the example is? It takes an effort for us to create that change in our life. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's why they're going back to Mitzrayim. And then it says, Uvnei Yisrael yotzim biyad rama. They're leaving with a strong arm. Now they understand that it's up to us to leave Mitzrayim. It's not that Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. Now we have to go through the challenge of leaving Mitzrayim ourselves. We need to make the decision that I want to leave Mitzrayim. Of course, these were all the people, the 1 out of 5 who wanted to leave Mitzrayim. But now, very nice you wanted, very nice you have this inspirational moment. You are the people who are chosen to leave Mitzrayim, but now you have to let go of Mitzrayim and leave it behind. And that's a process that each and every Jew needed to go through that process himself. And that's why they had to go back to Mitzrayim. And that's Uvnei Yisrael Yotzim Biyad Rama. The Megala Amuko says, we famously say v'chamushim alu b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim, which literally means that when they left Mitzrayim, it's in this week's Parsha right in the beginning, that they left armed. Chamush means that they have a weapon with them. The Mefarshim explained chamushim means that it's 1/5, that 4 out of 5 died in Makas Choshech. We all learned that already in our childhood. Megala Amuko says it's v'chamushim alu b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. They left Mitzrayim chamishim pam. And the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim and the words Yetzias Mitzrayim appear 50 times in the Torah, because leaving Mitzrayim was 50 times, all the way to get to Ma'amad Har Sinai, was every day you had to leave Mitzrayim again. And it was a new leaving of Mitzrayim. And that's why it says, Vayehi b'lashon tsar. It is difficult. They're going into a difficult Exodus process. It wasn't, wow, we're free, because in Judaism, freedom is not just freedom. We don't have oppression anymore. But if you're free now, what are you doing? What's your mission? And that's a process to get to that, to understand what yes to do with our lives, even when we understand what we don't want to have in our lives. And even when we let go of what we don't want in our lives, how much of it is still in our psyche, is still in our personality that's negative, that we want to shed it, that we want to get rid of it. And that happens over time. And that's the process of getting ready for Ma'amad Har Sinai. And that's why, says the Sfas Emes, when they were standing in front of the Yam Suf, and the Egyptians are chasing behind them, and they're hearing the horses coming, and they're coming 600 men, and they're petrified. They're scared because they understand that now this is not Hashem doing it for them. Now they need to earn it themselves. That's why when we left Mitzrayim, the Malachi Asharis didn't say Halalu Ovdei Avodah Zarah ve'Halalu Ovdei Avodah Zarah. When we left Mitzrayim, it was the Chesed of Hashem. Every once in a while, we have a Chesed of Hashem. He gives us this moment, a moment of inspiration, a moment of excitement. I can't believe I heard that shiur. There's a Chesed. We were saved. Chas v'shalom. If there is Chas v'shalom an accident, Chas v'shalom, a person was saved. He has that moment of inspiration. Chesed Hashem. Hashem cares about me. He loves me. He saved me. I have a mission. I know what I need to do. I know who I need to become. But then starts the real process. And the real process is din. The real process is I need to earn it. Pesach, which is Keneged Avraham Avinu, is Midas HaChesed. Shavuos, which is Keneged Yitzchak, is Midas HaDin. I need to earn it myself. And therefore they're petrified. Maybe in Mitzrayim, that's what they call Isarusa de Le'ela. It's all coming from Shamayim. Hashem decided he's running the whole world, and therefore he gave us the opportunity to see the 10 Makos, to be saved. However, in order to really experience a real Geula, Hashem is letting go. And he's saying, you need to earn it. And that's the Midas Adin. That's the famous Orach Chaim HaKadosh in this week's Parsha, Perek Yudaled, Pasuk Tesvav. Says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, Daber el Bnei Yisrael ve'isou. Midas HaRachmim wants to help, but now there's only Midas Adin. If they're misgaber, if they do an action of showing their emunah in Hashem, so then that will overpower the Midas Adin, and then I could do a miracle for them. But right now, Hashem Kivyochel says, my hands are tied. I can't save them. It's really up to them. It's up to them to make an internal decision that they want to make a difference in their life, that they want to shed this Mitzrayim away from them, and that they trust me, and they're willing to jump into the Yam Suf. That's what Hashem says, a fascinating Orach Chaim HaKadosh. He says, Midas Adin Tovas. Right now, it's really up to them to decide. I did the chesed of taking them out. I did the chesed, the kindness of showing them their potential, but now they need to earn it themselves. And that's why they were petrified. And that's why he says this is not even a time for prayer, because what prayer does, it evokes the midah of kindness, of rachamim from Hashem. But if we don't have the merit, because we were serving idols and they were serving idols, so therefore what we need is to show an action of commitment, that we are committed to the cause. We are ready to step in, to jump into the water, and to show that we're ready for this, and then the sea splits for us. And this is really, by the way, the process that we go through when we want to be liberated from a difficult challenge that we're experiencing. We want to have that liberation. So we have this moment of inspiration. We know where we want to be, each one in our own worlds, in our own avoda of what it is we want to accomplish. Usually the next day could be in very basic things. On starting a diet, you know how many times I wanted to start exercising during this lockdown? I told myself 5 times I'm going out to Gan Soccer to start. I had this vision of what I wanted to be, but I'm still sitting here and I haven't gone down to Gan Soccer to run around the block. Why? Because I get this moment of inspiration, but to get up the next day is difficult. It's a hard thing. You have to really step into it. And even when you do step into it, 1 day, 2 days, are you going to keep it up for 50 days? Really create a change in your life and who you are and how you believe and what it is you believe in? It takes effort, and that's the difficulty. That's the challenge, and that's where the Midas Hadin comes in, where I need to make the change myself in my life. I need to take my life into my own hands. Hashem is going to help me. And this is such an important lesson that sometimes in life you have to jump into the water. You got to be willing to jump in to show that you're dedicated towards a certain cause. A lot of times this is so true can be true in business, but it's so true in relationships. I speak to different, young men and women who are in shidduchim, and they have a lot of questions, and everything seems to be lined up. And then, but how do I know? How do I know for sure? But how do I really know that she's the one? That maybe there at a certain point, when things line up, you are going through a process. You had a vision of something. Here's someone that's aligned. You need to be willing to jump into the water. If you're showing commitment that you're willing to go into the water for this person, you will see the sea split, because that commitment itself already makes a change in you, that you're able to, now I'm able to be committed to this. I'm able to be committed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and not to Mitzrayim anymore. I'm able to be willing to be committed to this person, to this zivuk, to this shidduch, to this spouse, and to no one else. It makes a change in you, which automatically makes a change in the other person, and then the shidduch actually happens. It's something that it's so true. It could be true in our business, by the way. How many of us, chas v'shalom, during this corona had a difficult time with their jobs and with different things? And then there's new opportunities that come in, and we're scared. Do I want to leave this? Do I want to start something else? Or maybe it's not good for me. Maybe it's limiting me. But sometimes when you're committed and you jump in and you stop being wishy-washy. Oh, I want this and that and this and that. And you're committed to one thing. And you're like, this is what I want to do. And this is how I want to accomplish it. So then the sea splits, because the reason why it splits is not just because, oh, it's a miracle. A change happens in us when we're committed. And a change happens usually to the people around us when they see that we are committed to a specific cause. And that's really what happened with Yetzias Mitzrayim. Yetzias Mitzrayim, the splitting of the sea, was a splitting. It was Am Yisrael's commitment that they needed to be so committed, and they show their trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why at the end of Kriyas Yamsuf, of the splitting of the sea, it says, V'hinei Mitzrayim met al sfat hayam. It doesn't say that the Egyptians died by the bank of the shore of the sea, but it says Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim means Egypt was dead. Now it doesn't. Egypt didn't come after them; it was the Egyptians. But why does it say that Egypt was dead by the banks of the water? Because they were able to. Their commitment to God, their commitment to Hashem, is what allowed them to sort of shed their commitment to their previous owners that they were so enslaved under. And that was a huge process that they needed to go through. And that's why it was scary. And that's why they mustered up the energy and they broke through. And then eventually, by the way, the process continues. They ran out of food, and then they had to pray for the man, for the war. And that's the belief in Hashem that he will sustain us. And that was this another level of an ongoing trust in our Creator. Ongoing trust that he is the sustainer. He's the one who provides us. Hashem provides everything that we need, even though we think that, oh, we did this business and that startup and this, and we're going to change jobs. We're not going to. Hashem is our sustainer. We're going through a difficult time. It's part of breaking free from whatever is holding us back, is understanding that I need to do it. I need to take the effort and to be willing to make the change in my life, and to understand that it's a process, a daily process, 50 days in a row. By the way, if you do something for 50 days in a row, I'm almost positive that you will be able to make a change in your life if you could stick for 50 days in a row. Usually they tell you 30 days. Here, Jewish wisdom is telling us 50 days until you get to Maimon Har Sinai. You make the change in your life, which eventually changes who you are, and you're willing. That automatically gives you the opportunity to break through. And through that process is understanding that Hashem is the one who runs the world. Hashem is the one who runs politics and runs world affairs and wars. And that's the war of Amalek that comes to attack Am Yisrael. And Moshe sends Yeshua, and Moshe is on the top of the hill in the hands of Moshe, right? This is the war against Amalek. It's, do we trust that Hashem runs the politics around the world? And when we look at the hands of Moshe and they're up, so then we're connected to Hashem, so then we feel that energy. Or do we say that no, it's up to us? And the same thing with our parnasa, with our source of food. Do we believe that it comes from Hashem? The process of the daily understanding, that's what got us ready for Maimon Har Sinai. This is the process of leaving Mitzrayim in every single generation, for us as a nation, for us as individuals, understanding that we go through times of difficulty where we feel that we're locked in, but then there's that moment of inspiration. There's that potential. We see a vision of who I could become, of who we could become as a people. But then comes the next day. The next day is the hard work, taking us through, and Hashem knows our personality. Hard work means that it's Vayehi Beshalach Paro Esam. It means that it's difficult because even when we leave Mitzrayim, Paro did livui, and he was melave us, and therefore a piece of Paro stayed with us, and it was difficult. We had to shed it off. Therefore, Hashem says, I'm not going to take them directly through Eretz Plishtim because they need to go through the process of leaving Mitzrayim themselves. This is why Hashem brought us back to Mitzrayim when we had to leave again, because that process of leaving Mitzrayim needed to be us leaving. Uvnei Yisrael yotzim biyad Rama. Now we're starting to leave Mitzrayim for the first time. And this is why Bnei Yisrael were petrified in front of the ocean, because now they had to earn it themselves. This is the process of leaving our own difficulties and challenges, is understanding that even when we get that moment of inspiration, get ready, because it's going to get tough. And you need to embrace yourself and understand that. And if you brace yourself and you create a strategy of every day how to grow and to have support from your friends and family, I'm going to get through this, and you create a map for yourself and a checklist, and every day you're growing and leaving something behind and reaching the goal of where you want to be, then we can actually be the people that we're supposed to be, the people that we want to be, the people that we're supposed to be. Every day a person is supposed to ask himself, every day a person is supposed to ask himself the question of, where do I want to be? Where am I right now? And am I on the trajectory of actually reaching that place? So I want to thank everyone for coming here. And I really, really appreciate that you guys come and give me the time. I want to make just 2 announcements before we go. Number one is that everyone should know that tomorrow we have a special program for the International Holocaust Day. Mark emailed it out today with the details, and it's going to begin tomorrow at 7 p.m. So please stay tuned for that. It's going to be a special program. The International Holocaust Day is tomorrow. And here in our shul, we're going to be doing a special Zoom program tomorrow at 7 p.m. The details are in your email. And on top of that, I would like to again thank Batsheva for sponsoring this year and for dedicating it in honor of her mother, Sarah Shoshana Roiza Bas Rafael. May all the words of Torah and inspiration and chizuk that we got from this year be an ilui to her neshama. And I'm sure that she's looking down right now at Batsheva and her family, and she sees everything that Batsheva has done in our community and spreading of Torah and the love of Hashem and connection to Hashem. And she is shepping nachas in Shamayim, in heaven, and she's smiling from ear to ear, because it's very special to have a daughter like Batsheva. And we're very lucky as a kehila